Hi, I'm Julia Emily. Throughout this presentation, I will be describing how PLCs can increase student achievement in every content area. Why PLCs? If I told you there was one way to improve student achievement without doing extra work, what would you say? You'd probably say, no way, or be on the other end of the spectrum and say, tell me more. PLCs are all about collaborating with other teachers in your same content area. PLCs are a way of life, not just some teaching fad that will be here one year and gone the next. Collaborating with teachers is an integral part to PLCs. This is a learning community, not just a personal learning plan. PLCs are focused on making sure that all students are reaching high levels of achievement in the content area. These meetings and collaboration periods should be result-oriented based on SMART goals the PLC creates after analyzing data. In the past, schools had one leader, the principal. Nowadays, principals are entirely too busy to be at each PLC meeting, attend every parent conference, be in and out of every teacher's room evaluating them. It is time for teachers to become leaders and really take ownership of our students' learning. Data, I don't have time for that. Yes, you do. Data sounds like such a scary word. Most teachers think that the numbers will make them look bad. What actually makes them look bad is if a student leaves their class and can't transfer what they learn to the real world. Fundamentalist teachers are tied to their ways and oppose change. Believer teachers believe in collegiality, are open to changes when there are benefits to their students, and are flexible. I want you to be a believer. Really, think about what the data is telling you and reflect. Look at the data from the previous school year. How do you know your students did well? How do you know what they need to improve upon? Where are certain groups that did better than others, and why? Certain classes or teachers whose data doesn't fit. Make sure to be analyzing that. Be curious and ask questions. This data will be the foundation for your SMART goal. Norms before goals. Goals are great, but they mean nothing if the group can't stay on task to follow the PLC process and the goal setting process. Each team should write their own set of norms. What might work well for the math department could be disastrous for the music department. All group members should be committed to the set of norms. Norms should be read at the beginning of each meeting for at least one semester, longer if needed. Norms should be evaluated twice a year, and an idea would be at the beginning of the school year in August, towards the end of the first semester in December or January, and at the end of the second semester in April or May. Group norms should not be a page long. If a person on the team violates a norm, it should be addressed. Just as we are firm with our students on the rules, or we'll get walked all over, this needs to happen in a PLC meeting as well. The following are some tips to writing goals. Tip number 1, create your own norms. Tip number 2, these are commitments and ways to act or behave in the group. Tip number 3, review your norms. Tip number 4, evaluate how effective your norms have been. Tip number 5, focus on only a few norms instead of a lengthy list. And tip number 6, if there's a violator, address it. You need to fix the problem before it becomes even bigger. Finally, it's time to get smart. The next step is to create your SMART goal based on what your data is telling you. Your goal should state what your current reality is and then follow the SMART format, being as specific as possible. This helps to make your goals achievable. Another thing to keep in mind when writing SMART goals is that they should be aligned with your building and district initiatives. So SMART stands for specific, measurable, attainable, results-oriented, and time-bound. You've created your group norms, you've looked at the data, you've written a SMART goal, so what's next? After having looked at your data, you can see the hills and valleys of your teaching for each unit. It's now time to plan the new unit. Using a backwards design template can help align standards and really help teachers to determine the need to know versus nice to know content that should be in the curriculum. Writing the backward unit plan together as a PLC ensures students in any teacher's classroom are learning the same information. This is also good for districts that have a high rate of student mobility. All teachers, no matter what school they teach in, are on the same page this way. This template will also help you to determine what proficiency looks like for each standard. Creating assessments before planning lessons is important. If you don't know how you will assess the learning objective, then how can you plan meaningful activities for the student to engage in? Next, assessments. Assessing student learning is so important. This can be done formatively or summatively. Either way, assessments shouldn't just be written by one teacher. All teachers in the PLC should have a say. Each PLC should identify and create at least 3 common formative assessments that each teacher will give in a unit and 1 summative assessment to be given at the end of the unit. Both forms of assessment should be recorded. This will give the group data to look at to plan for upcoming lesson plans. This will also help teachers to differentiate their classrooms. Revising and editing. After you've assessed your students, you'll collect data. Then in your PLC, you'll analyze the data to find out what is working for which students and then determine what to do for the students that haven't learned. You'll create lesson plans based on this data. Then the process continues until the unit is over. PLCs are an ongoing process throughout the school year. You won't meet for one unit and then cease meeting for the next unit. That just wouldn't be good for students. It would be optimal for your PLC to meet daily or every other day, depending on your school's schedule, a block schedule versus a traditional schedule. Overall summary. Overall, PLCs will not only benefit the teachers, but students and school culture as well. Teachers will save time creating their own lessons each and every day and will work with a group to create lessons and assessments together. Students will benefit from more rigorous coursework that engages transfer of knowledge and the learning rather than just recalling information for tests.